Well, hello, today I'm trying yet another one of these tier list videos, and now I have yet again found another interesting tier list that goes over the roller coasters in the Benelux. And what does the Benelux actually mean? Well, first of all, it's in Europe, and then second of all, it's just Netherlands and Belgium combined. And yet again, I'm quite stupid because the Benelux also includes Luxemburg, but this is actually one of the smallest countries in the world, so it doesn't really have any roller coasters. And before starting this tier list, the only thing I have to say is don't mind my room, it's quite messy right now. So now let's rank the coasters in the Benelux. So now let's get into this very interesting video. Okay, let's see the first roller coaster I can see right here. It looks like a 6-seater Gerslauer, so that must be Anubis the ride at Plopsaland Japan. And I actually only tried this roller coaster once. And that was because I really need to try Ride to Happiness over and over again. That is just so insane. But this roller coaster is actually quite underrated in my opinion. This really has a very punchy launch. And the top hat on this one is also crazy, giving ejector airtime. But my ride was actually a bit destroyed by the rain. It just felt like needles going through my face. I actually think I could say that Anubis is a quite underrated Gerslauer Eurofighter. Do you call it a Eurofighter or the 6-seater coaster? I don't even know. But let's just say it's a Eurofighter model. I think that's true. Ooh, I'm actually gonna go high B tier because I have something, I have a few problems about Gerslauer, and that's first of all the rattle. Uncomfy over the shoulder restraints are just crazy annoying, especially when you're tall like me. Oh, the over the shoulder restraints, they just keep digging in my shoulders, especially on the airtime moments on the top hat. Let's see the next one we have. Oh, that's the B&M Dive Baron 1898, but this is actually one of the smallest B&M dive coasters in the whole world. This is actually heavily themed, so even though it's quite small and floaty, the theming really makes up for it. But we all know a B&M Dive, it isn't really that interesting, except Shikra in my opinion, that is really a crazy dive coaster. After you have this floaty Immelman and a great first drop, you actually have a 0G roll, quite floaty yet again because it's a B&M Dive. I think you have an airtime hill and then a helix, and then the ride experience is done. So if you add the immersive queue line and awesome station, and the look of this coaster with the drop just looks amazing, so I'm gonna give it a C tier. The next coaster is Phoenix, and that's another B&M roller coaster. It's located at Toverland, and this is perhaps one of the best B&M coasters in the whole... No, not B&M coasters, but B&M wing coasters in the whole world. Even though it's quite a short layout, it is very, very punchy, just like Anubis. But this is also smooth, and the vest restraints aren't even that bad in my opinion on these wing coasters, because I don't think they sit as tight as the other B&M coasters, but I don't really know if that's just the ride operators pressing it too much down on my body, because I actually had some great rides on this B&M wing coaster. And you can already see I'm looking at an A tier here. Yeah, I'll leave Phoenix at A tier. Okay, the next one, that's the Gerslauer Infinity Coaster at Slagharden, and I think it's called Gold Rush. Gold Rush has a swing launch section. It has a beyond vertical stall. Yeah, a lot of hang time in the back row, a punchy second launch. You have some great airtime moments on this Infinity Coaster. And you also have a decent whip. I think on the last dive loop, it has a lot of whip, especially if you sit on the wing seats, of course, because you sit. I think this is 4x5, so this is one of the longer Infinity Coasters trains, so should I put it in A tier, low A? Many people don't talk about this roller coaster, but it's actually quite awesome. But in terms of length, just in front of Anubis the ride in my opinion. No, now I'm gonna be quite controversial because we got Goliath at Walibi Holland, and after I had ridden Untamed for 25 total times, I had to try Goliath out because it's an intimate mega coaster. Whoa, intimate airtime, mega coaster, great coasters, yes, but I actually came off very disappointed. I actually sat in the back row, and I've heard that this is actually a front row ride for the airtime, so I can't really be that harsh about this roller coaster. But I just think the first drop was okay in the back row. The second camelback, it looks very awesome, but it didn't really, it had a bit of floater, and then the rest of the layout is just way too drawn out. But the last airtime hills actually hit, they were great, but I had to place it here because I only got a back row ride, and that was quite disappointing in my opinion. Perhaps I should rewrite it. This coaster could go up in A tier, but for now I'll actually only leave it here behind Anubis. Yes, that might be highly controversial. But the next roller coaster, I can't even see this roller coaster. It looks like some wood, so I'm gonna keep going. We got Conda right here. This is a great roller coaster. I think this is Conda at Walibi Belgium, and this is of course a next generation intimate mega coaster, and this one just features an awesome twisted first drop, awesome camelback hill, awesome outer bank, just like Steel Vengeance. The only lackluster thing about this ride experience, in my opinion, is that non-inverted Cobra roll. Yeah, you call it that. I can't even speak English, you know that. But after that, you just have several airtime hills after the non-inverting, and then the final ending is just like Steel Vengeance yet again. And you can really feel that Intamin are really seeking inspiration in all the RMC layouts. But this is just, I think this is the first S tier coaster on this list. Perhaps the last one, I don't even know. Wait until the end and see, of course. And then we're going over in the Netherlands again for Walibi Holland. And here we got the prototype Mack Ride's Big Dipper roller coaster called the Lost Gravity. And I actually really liked Lost Gravity because I actually came in with no expectations for this roller coaster. This coaster just has an awesome twisted first drop, especially the twist in a wing seat. It feels crazy ejector airtime, very aggressive. Then you go down in a low to the ground airtime hill that's also very aggressive, ejector yet again. You got a weirdly profiled outer bank with floater, yet another airtime hill with, somebody said in my videos that I shouldn't mention flowjector unironically, but I don't care. I call this flowjector airtime. You know, a combination of ejector and floater. I don't even care yet. This layout is actually quite lengthy and weird, and I really like this coaster. But is it better than Gold Rush? I don't really think so. So I'll call this coaster a high B tier. Yeah, and what is that? I think that is Ride to Happiness. So now we're moving back to Walibi, Belgium. Let's just say the second Mack Ride's extreme spinning coaster is perhaps one of the best in the whole world. This roller coaster just has everything. The spinning seats is crazy. You start off with a very hang time filled, I don't know what you call it, hardline roll that is twisted. It's just amazing. Punchy launches, crazy ejector airtime on the weirdly looking top hat, and it's just confusing riding this roller coaster. And the rewritability is crazy because it's just a different experience every time you ride it. And the best moment on this roller coaster is actually after the second launch. You get this, what do you call it, a Cobra roll inversion or something, where it twists and then it goes into a dive loop, and it just felt like a car crash. My body just went this way flying over. I've never experienced something like that. I actually think Ride to Happiness is better than Fonda for sure. This is just another completely one-of-a-kind ride experience right now. Let's see, then we got Troy. We're going back to Toverland. We got a high-tier GCI coaster in my opinion. It reminds me of Twisted Timbers at Kings Island actually, but I think Twisted Timbers is just a bit better. And Troy is overall just typical GCI. You have these very weird overbank turns with a little airtime pop, but then the rest of the layout is just mainly low to the ground floater moments, a lot of speed. Just sit in the front row for these wooden coasters by GCI, because the speedy feeling right there is just awesome, and I actually think Troy is actually better than Phoenix. Let's see, now we have Untamed. Untamed is quite an interesting RMC coaster because many people call it high tier, but I would actually say this is a contender for one of the best RMCs in the whole world. I really love this RMC coaster. It just features relentless airtime, a very lengthy layout. That double stall inversion after the first drop is just amazing. Your bum is just out of your seat for like 5-6 seconds, and all of these airtime hills you experience on Untamed just hit you like crazy. It's sustained ejector airtime throughout the whole thing. Amazing coaster. And then you have another relentless airtime filled ending with a hang time filled barrel roll, and that is it better than Ride to Happiness? I would actually say so, to be honest, that Untamed is better than Ride to Happiness. That might be controversial. This one is just crazy, especially a hot summer day warmed up. Holy moly, 25 times on this coaster. It was just as fun every time. And now we go over to Bobbenjolland. I can see here, Bobbenjolland is what you call it. We have a very old Gerstlauer Eurofighter. Typhoon over shoulder restraints, bad. It's rattly, bad. Vertical lift beyond vertical drop, nice. Cool, forceful inversion, yes, positive G's. And then a very weird layout. It looks like a huge wild mouse layout, and then you got these slow-paced hang time filled barrel rolls, and then some. It's just one of the weirdest Gerstlauers out there in my opinion. Oh, but I would rather ride Baron, so Typhoon, you're gonna go to D tier, and that's a low D tier in my opinion. This isn't really the greatest roller coaster. Now let's pick this one. We already know where this coaster is at. It's called Efteling, and that's the so-called Python, and I actually retracked the whole ride experience. Python actually just, I think it's called the MK1200 model by Vekoma, a traditional looping coaster, and this one features the 2 vertical loops, 2 corkscrews, and then I think it has a helix, and that's it. But now it's retracked, one of the slowest lift hills in the world, so the ride experience is quite lengthy, but you have 2 very forceful vertical loops, very smooth ride experience. You got the new trains on there from Vekoma with the vest, so they're quite nice, but not the best of of course. Then you have 2 Whippy corkscrews. Would I ride this over Baron? Probably, yeah. A high C tier for Python in my opinion. And now we got the Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster right here at Bobbejaarland called Fury, and this one is very interesting because it goes frontwards and backwards, and the backwards experience is just something else that's way more crazy. You got a swing launch section, yet again 3 launches, a nice stall when you go to the second launch, and then an awesome ejector airtime pop after the first launch. And this coaster is quite weird, but I think it's on the shorter side of Infinity coasters, just like Gold Rush. I actually think this coaster is better than Gold Rush, perhaps up here somewhere. Right here, B or A, let me think. We have some cool inversions, very disorientating. I'm gonna place it right here, because after this swing launch section and inversions, the ride experience is pretty much done, but it is really short and powerful, just like this one down here. Yeah, the Anubis ride. I'm stupid because I can't really see what coaster this is. Let me zoom in. Is that the dueling GCIs? I think it's the dueling GCI coasters at Efteling. I think they're called Joris Indie-Drak, and that's Dutch. But yet again, awesome dueling GCI coasters. I love the scenic view you get going down on the lake and where you twist and then you meet the other train, of course. There are also many floater airtime pops on this roller coaster, so I would actually place them right here. It's not better than Troy, and it's better than Fury in my opinion, but Phoenix is just a very awesome wing coaster. And that actually concludes my list of the most important coasters in the Benelux. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I think the only thing I can perhaps change here is taking this down at FTAS. And now you've finally reached the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts about this kind of video in the comments. That would be quite interesting. Should I continue doing these videos, because I think they're quite chill and awesome. And at the end of the day, I'm always gonna say bye bye.